Three stories today about football's promises. Poland says a women's tournament will go ahead despite pressure on FIFA. Ghana waits to see if World Cup money reaches its stadiums.
And Faten Ben Omar El Azizi drowned the day her visa arrived.
She played football in Morocco.
She wanted what the game said it could give her.
Preparations for the Under-20 Women's World Cup are going ahead as planned. Poland, which is hosting the tournament, confirmed that on Tuesday. The competition is set to begin next month. It will be the first FIFA event to take place since global football's governing body faced widespread criticism. The tournament involves women's teams from around the world competing at under-20 level. Polish officials say everything is on track. The World Cup will go ahead despite the controversy surrounding FIFA. Ghanaian Times reported this. Ghana's former vice president has held talks with Japan's ambassador about technology and environmental challenges facing the country. Dr. Mahamudu Bawumia met with Ambassador Yoshimoto to discuss digitalisation and financial technology. They also covered artificial intelligence. The two men talked about flood control measures. Illegal mining, known locally as galamsey, was on the agenda as well. Bawumia thanked the ambassador and his team after the meeting. He described it as a courtesy visit. The discussions bring together Japanese expertise with Ghana's development priorities. Technology transfer between the two nations has grown in recent years. 3 News reported this. A former Mexican state governor has been formally charged over the disappearance of 43 students nearly 11 years ago. Angel Aguirre was governor of Guerrero State when the students vanished in 2014. He's been indicted for his alleged involvement in the case. The disappearance rocked Mexico. It became a symbol of the country's brutal cartel violence. The case has never been fully resolved. Guardian World reported this. Eurovision Song Contest has changed its rules about which countries can host the competition. From now on, any country currently at war will be barred from holding the event. Israel hosted Eurovision back in 2019. Under the new policy, it would no longer be allowed to do so. However, the country can still take part as a competitor. That's according to protesters who have been following the rule change. The decision affects hosting rights only, not participation in the contest itself. Al Jazeera reported this. Heavy rain has triggered flash flood emergencies across parts of the country. The severe weather forced evacuations and left some communities cut off by rising water. 2 people have been killed in a military helicopter crash. The aircraft went down earlier today. Both stories are developing tonight as rescue crews work in the flood zones and investigators head to the crash site. CBS News reported this.
2 people are dead after a military helicopter went down in the United States.
Flash floods have been declared across several states.
Now to Lebanon.
Prosecutors have filed new charges against the former head of the central bank, Riad Salame, and former bank chief Samir Hanna.
The central bank is trying to recover billions lost when the financial system collapsed in 2019.
A Bundesliga footballer has moved to Italy's top division. Romano Schmid has joined Frosinone in Serie A. The transfer was confirmed by his former club, Werder Bremen. Schmid had been playing in Germany's top flight. He now moves to a side competing in Italian football's highest tier. The clubs have completed the deal. Schmid will continue his career in a new league. Bundesliga reported this. Lebanon has filed new charges against the country's former central bank chief. Prosecutors have launched fresh proceedings against Riad Salame, who ran the central bank for years. They've also charged Samir Hanna, the former head of Bank Audi, one of Lebanon's major banks. The charges are part of a wider effort to recover billions of dollars that were lost when Lebanon's financial system collapsed in 2019. The central bank itself is now pursuing legal action to get that money back. The crash devastated Lebanon's economy. Ordinary people lost access to their savings as banks imposed strict withdrawal limits that remain in place today. OCCRP reported this. Ghana is hoping to use money from next year's World Cup to upgrade its football stadiums. The National Sports Authority wants part of the revenue the country earns from the 2026 FIFA World Cup to go towards stadium repairs. The authority's Director General, Yor Ampofo Ankrat, says he's confident the funding will come through. The work is needed before Ghana hosts the Under-20 Africa Cup of Nations in 2027. The rehabilitation plans depend on how much World Cup money gets allocated to the Sports Authority. Ghana Soccernet reported this. European football's governing body put on a showcase last night. UEFA presented its European champions Paris Saint-Germain and star player Kvaratskhelia in a high-profile match. The display came as turmoil continues at FIFA, world football's governing body. That scandal remains the dominant talking point in the sport. The match was seen as an attempt to shift attention back to what happens on the pitch. Nick Ames argues the quality of football from players like Kvaratskhelia and Madjo demonstrated the game's appeal beyond the administrative crisis. UEFA clearly hoped the spectacle would remind fans why they love football. The beautiful game was meant to overshadow FIFA President Gianni Infantino's troubles. Guardian Football reported this. A young Moroccan footballer has drowned trying to reach Europe. Faton Ben Omar El Azizi was among thousands attempting to cross into Ceuta, the Spanish territory on Morocco's northern coast. She was struggling to survive on low wages and dreamed of a better life in Spain. On the day she died, her visa to enter Europe legally had been approved. Football had been the life she wanted. Guardian Africa reported this.